The reason I don't think PA should implement an Ironman game mode is based purely on Prolibus's track record, and it has nothing to do.
I didn't realize this was going to be a Doomer video. I thought he was going to be like, yes, please introduce an Ironman game mode. He's like, no, please don't do it. You'll just f it up. Homie, what? Okay, so this is the first time I've ever seen Sickloot's face.
And an Ironman game mode.
He's kind of cute. You guys ever seen Sickloot before? He's kind of cute, bro. He's 14. I gotta go.
Well, to answer the question, no, I don't think so. But let's talk about why.
Honestly, he's really short. He's not 40. He like 20. He like 25. He like 25.
I've been playing Black Desert for 9 years. Help me. Yeah. And as an Ironman for the last 2. And Ironman basically being that you can't...
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. He is the pioneer of peak mental illness in our category. People have tried Ironmans before. Sickloot's the only person that I've ever seen follow all the way through with it and absolutely kill it. I think the first Ironman I ever saw was that Dungeoneers guy. You guys remember Dungeoneers? I like Dungeoneers, I do. But he's a mentally ill freak. When he tried to make his Ironman video, he said, I can't leave Calpheon. Not joking. Could not leave Calpheon. No central market. Obviously, he failed in like 2 episodes. Sickloot, I'm pretty sure, again, it wasn't like he pioneered the idea, but he actually followed through and has made more, like his entire career is based around the Iron Man series. So like, I'll admit, I got my idea for the Iron Man from Sickloot and Azure. Azure probably got his idea from Sickloot and whatnot as well, right? And we all just kind of branched off of that. And then Fake Uni is now running Hardcore, which is just Iron Man with a different name.
And use the central market. That really is the main restriction. That's the main point of an Ironman. The last year, I've added on the Ultimate Ironman, which...
That is a crazy series that you guys should definitely check out. That is, he can't use storages. We've watched it all. If you've been following my channel, I watch all those videos.
Essentially just adds no storage to the restriction. I'm not the first one to try this. I'm not the best at it. I'm not the last one.
I think he is the best at it.
To try it.
Well, he's the most deranged to do it multiple times. The only person I've ever seen do it multiple times.
So many people have been able to try the Ironman game mode.
Fake went to try WoW Hardcore first. No, I went to go try WoW Hardcore first. Fake spent time floating around in other categories only to realize that those were all a dead end. Then landed on Hardcore WoW and was like, damn, this was really fun, but I kind of missed the wave and said, it, I'll just do it for BDO. And honestly, smart on him. Good idea. But I know exactly where he got that idea from.
Just on their own, and many have started making content on BDO because of the Ironman game mode. It's been really cool to see as someone...
Yes, I attribute my entire series and inspiration for that to Sickloot and Azure.
Someone who was in the early stages of the Ironman, one of the first, I would say probably the second to ever do it. A lot of people think that I popularized the game mode, and I'm not really sure about that. I was just...
He did. I'll say it. He did.
Having fun.
100%.
I think the community...
It was like, do I want to do this, or do I want to make an account on South Africa and just start the game over? You know what I mean? Like, all of our content creators are doing that. They just start on a new region and they just start over again. Or they do an Ironman. Those are the 2 things that we see most commonly. Right? When there's no content coming out. Right now, there's a new grind zone and stuff and like hardcore servers, so you're seeing people play. But whenever we have lulls in like content release for the game, that's what people do.
As a whole, and all of the people that were doing it, Quinny, Azure, Gallum, to name the main ones, even like People Skills, are big names in the Ironman game mode and really spreading.
Damn it, bro. Didn't make the list. Someday.
The concept to the community. The reason I don't think PA should implement an Ironman game mode is based purely on Prolibus's track record, and it has nothing to do.
I didn't realize this was going to be a Doomer video. I thought he was going to be like, yes, please introduce an Iron Man game mode. He's like, no, please don't do it. You'll just f it up. Homie, what? Dude, he just doesn't have faith that Perlibus can actually make it work.
With how the game mode applies to BDO. I think the Iron Man game mode is really fun. And I think if you're interested, then you should go give it a try right now. All you have to do if you play on NA or EU is simply switch your server to the other one. And then you have essentially a fresh account that you can start an Iron Man game mode on.
True. You don't even have to
if
pay
you're
for
not
it.
NA or EU, it will cost you a game pass. In many regions, it's free. And they often run sales on Steam that make it $1. And sometimes it's free. And then you today could start an Ironman. It is the most accessible it will ever be right now.
They'll make an Iron Man with only 4 classes. Yeah, and they'll all be men. Cancer.
One of the issues I see with Perlibus making an Iron Man game mode is that they have historically had very terrible execution. I can't think of anything even remotely of this scale that has been well executed from Perlibus.
Damn. Partner, by the way. Pretty sure he's a BDO partner. Yeah, BDO partner. BDO partner. Careful now. I'm warning you. Careful, sick. I didn't realize you were gonna go this hard. Otherwise, I would have watched it. I don't want you to get in trouble. They don't like it when you criticize them this hard.
Resubscribed for 4 months.
They used to be okay with like being really critical. This is not the way anymore. JJ is not the CEO of Perlibus in America anymore. You just don't. You be careful. Zunico, welcome back for 4 months, man. Appreciate you. What did he say? He said that Perlibus has done a traditionally they're just terrible at executing game modes like this or anything on this scale. He just has zero faith in their ability to do this, basically, and like they just can't execute on anything like that. Like that's basically what he said. Okay, and to be clear, they do not like it when you're super critical and you have signed a contract saying that you're partnered with the company. They don't like that anymore.
Perlibus.
Which is fair, by the way.
They are not good at this. The only thing that they're really pretty good at is making new classes. And to
That's true. Their new classes are always good.
be straight with you,
The funny thing is, I'm glad to hear him say that. Thank God, somebody that actually agrees with me on this. So many times I hear the BDO partners, stop making new classes. We don't want new classes. You keep trying to bait new players into the game by releasing a new class. The game's already hard enough to balance, isn't it? Yeah. Dude, personally, please never stop making classes. I think that they do a phenomenal job of making almost just about every class in the game feels unique and fun to play. And I think personally, what brings players to the game the most is when they're able to find a class that they vibe with on a spiritual level, something that they can invest in, something that they can really sink their teeth into and have fun with. You know what I mean? We've all got that class. For me, it's Dark Knight. For Khufu, it's Lan. For all of you guys, we all have that class that we sunk our teeth into, and we play a lot more Black Desert Online because that class exists. And yeah, does it make the game harder to balance? Sure, but who cares? For what? PvP? What PvP? What are we talking about? A, there is no PvP. What are we talking about? A. B, even if there was good PvP in the game, I would still rather them worry about balance and have to constantly mix things up and balance things and keep changing things because that keeps the game interesting. To me, balance is a snow globe, and I've said this before. I'd rather see them shake the snow globe up and then over time they just nerf things as the snowflakes
Speaking
fall.
of classes, what's the best class for AFK fishing? Level 49 isn't an issue, but what class should I use for fishing?
Corsair. But again, as the snowflakes fall and they make hot fixes and they balance stuff, you get a very clear image of what the meta is, and then you shake the snow globe back up again. A great way to shake the snow globe is to introduce a new class to the game. It introduces a new dynamic. It introduces a new, like when Succession Nova was released, it was like this crazy wave. Like people were trying to use it to wall off the gates in Siege and stuff. Like, and then Awakening Nova got released, and then everybody started like the disco Eurobeat music, and the cocaine industry went up tremendously. Like honestly, helping global markets worldwide. I personally love it when all like when they release new classes. I love it. I hope that they never stop. Yes, it hurts with balance in the game, but like nobody really cares about balance. It shakes up the game and it's fun. Like it gives us more of a chance to attract new players that will stay. And sure, 3,000 more players might start playing Black Desert Online, and only 200 of them might stay, or 50 of them might stay. But that's still 50 more than we had before, and that's just that's just how it is.
A new class is nowhere near this scale. If this
True. Also, he's not wrong. It's one of the only things they can actually consistently get right. PvP, you can count on Perlibus to completely up PvP. Whether they're changing an old game mode or they're putting in a new game mode, they're going to up PvP every time. Does not matter. PvE, honestly, that's the coin flip. Sometimes it's really good, like we did with the Orzeka dungeon and stuff. Sometimes it's horrible. And they say things like, yeah, there's plenty of group grind zones in the game, right? You just never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates with PvE. Life skilling, who are you? They don't even look at life skillers but once every like 2 years. And then when they do, they buff them and the life skillers all yell, yay, and then they move on again. So they can't really life skilling up. So
mode were to do well, it would have to be done correctly. And I just, from my 9 years in this game, I don't see that happening.
Okay, so please correct me if I'm wrong. This is my thought process every time. Community has idea. We give it to the development team. Give to devs. The devs say, okay, we work on it. Then the dev team works on it for an unallotted amount of time. And then we get something we didn't ask for. Okay, we get like 10% of what we originally conceived as the conception idea. Okay, we ask for a new Shadow Arena. The dev said, hold my beer. We get hardcore servers. Okay, we want better, like more optimized Node Wars. The dev said, hold my beer. We get the new Node War system. All right, like this is, we want group grind zones. Hold my beer. We've already got plenty of that. Here's a new solo grind zone called Pig Cave. All right. Like, that's just my experience with the dev team. And that's my biggest problem with them, is that they can't just take community advice and just make that idea and make it work. Especially when I understand it can be very difficult to take advice from a community who is giving you 100 different bullet points of options, right? Where like for PvP, for example, hundreds of people have hundreds of different opinions, and it can be difficult to discern whose opinion would actually work and improve the PvP scene, right? So let's use something a little bit simpler, like Shadow Arena, okay? Shadow Arena is kind of PvP. Well, let's use PvE, okay? When hardcore servers, I've got it. We'll use hardcore servers, which is still a PvP example, but it will serve. Hardcore servers are a great example because the development team is getting the same feedback from everyone on the hardcore servers. Doesn't matter where it's from. YouTube, their own YouTube comments, their own Discord, their forum posts, their partner chat, their partner posts, Twitch feedback, everywhere. Directly to the community managers, okay? I know that they're getting this from every single source, is all saying unanimously the same thing. We want to be able to play every single class on the hardcore servers. That's what we want. And the dev team refuses to give it to the community because they can't just do what the community wants. They have to do what the community wants, but they have to change it. They have to change it to like be theirs. And that was their way of making it like their idea so that they know what's best for the game. It's like this crazy ego thing that they have going on. And if you want my tinfoil hat, this is gonna be a little off the beaten path, but like, hear me out. So ever since the hardcore servers came out, I have noticed that primarily the balance patches that we have seen have all been focused, for the most part, on the classes that are on the hardcore servers. Yes, they're balancing other classes too. I've never seen Warrior get this much attention before. Oh, look, there's Sorceress right there. There's Ranger getting changes. Crazy. Massive changes out of nowhere, by the way. I think that these little are only giving us 4 classes at a time because they're low-key using the hardcore servers to balance the normal servers, PvE and PvP. So they're using all of the data from the hardcore servers, and they're just using all of that data they're focusing on 4 classes at a time. This is all tinfoil. I have nothing to base this off of except for, observation. But I think that they're literally just taking it. It's not some seasonal shit or we're trying to make it more approachable for new players. No, that was the excuse. No, what they're doing is they're using 4 classes at a time so that they can rapidly change those classes, giga balance them, and bring them in line. Because like all of a sudden, Warrior, Sork has been changed twice in massive ways, and Ranger and Zerker. Well, actually, Zerker hasn't received too much, but like all 3 of those classes out of nowhere got massive changes, not once, but 2 times now since the hardcore servers have come out. And I think that the next season, we're going to see the same shit again, because they're just trying to balance classes based on what's going on the hardcore servers. That's what I think's going on. I don't know, man. Corsair, Hash, and New Archer got entire kit reworks all outside of our hardcore classes. Well, like I said, they're also changing other classes, but they are focusing balance on the 4 classes that are on hardcore. Are they changing other stuff? Sure. Yeah, they're changing other stuff. But they could have been working on that beforehand too, right? But it wasn't until hardcore servers came out that suddenly Warrior needed a nerf to PvE. Twice. And then Ranger gets a full kit rework. And while we're at it, Archer is the sister class to Ranger. Right? So like, I could see how they're like, well, if Ranger is overperforming or whatever, like maybe we need to adjust Archer too. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, I've been around long enough. I think that that's what's going on. They are not. You're so wrong. And I could be wrong. But I think Warrior mains would probably beg to differ. Archer's the sister class? It is. True.
I don't see...
What's strange this time, it's not just simple buffs and nerfs, it's entire playstyle reworks. True. We're seeing entire kit reworks. I'm over here. Is anyone over here just hoping that their class doesn't get touched? I don't know about you guys. I'm just hoping that Dark Knight doesn't get touched. I'm hoping they just don't touch my class. Like, straight up. Please, like, no, we're fine. Please don't touch us. Please don't go anywhere near my class. I'm sweating balls. Dude, like, I don't want it, dude. I don't want it, man. Wait, Blue, that means your DK goes live on hardcore servers when Striker and Mystic. They'll find out how those 2 monkey classes are and how DK struggles against those 2. True.
Pearl Abyss.
True. Never mind. Carry on.
Executing the game mode correctly. Another part of the problem is, of course, monetization. Making an Ironman game mode takes a huge amount of time. That is a lot of development work. Right now.
No. Okay, I'll tell you right now, they could absolutely run an Ironman. They could call it BDO Classic. Let me pitch it to you. BDO Classic. All right. It's 2017 BDO. Silver does not have weight. There is no central marketplace. You have to pay $10 to get on the BDO Classic servers, but you get 10 maids. you get a tent, you get a fairy with perfect skills, and you get 4 tier 4 pets. Done. Go. There you go. That's all I gotta do. But you know what? They will find a way to fuck that up. They will find a way to fuck that up. That's not an Ironman then? Sure it is. Are you kidding me? So again, you only have access to Balanos. It'd be like my BDO Classic. Balanos, Serendia, Calpheon, Medaya, and Valencia. You're setting everybody loose. Okay? And it's old 2017 rules. So there's one-sided decks in the game. The priest guy or the black robe guy is still in the game. All that stuff. Like karma is reverted to basically what it used to be as well. Like honestly, you could even let the marketplace go too. Honestly, you could let the marketplace be a thing, right? No pearl shop though. You just have people pay up front to play on the game mode. Like I think that people would play it, but he's right. I think that even with something that is relatively, wait, black robe is gone. That's all in the past now. An inside joke for those that know. I think he's right. I think that they would take even that simple idea that I pitched right there. If they were going to try to make that into a game mode, I think that they would try to put their own quirky spin on it and they would f it up. I completely agree with him.
Now, it would cost you a maximum of $10 to start an Ironman gamebook. That's with the game not on sale. You can just buy a new account if you had to. Worst case, you buy a new account, costs you $10. You're in.
Okay, real talk. Let's say Pearl Abyss releases BDO Classic in the most low effort way possible. Pearl Shop is the same as it used to be. You can use the Pearl Shop. Everything is the same as it was when BDO released. How many people are just going right back in and doing it again? I think it would be like another MMO release again. I think that people would absolutely, like, you say nah, but I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people that would be like, let's go run over some people with a plus 15 urea. You know what I mean? Like, they would have fun with it for a while. It would not have I don't think it would have the sea legs to go long term. But I do think that if they did it kind of seasonally, it might work. Too much quality of life now. Yeah, that's my opinion too. The quality of life changes have been crazy, but they said that about BDO Classic too. I mean, WoW Classic too. You need to understand, guys, as much as Pearl Abyss has f***ed up their game in the last like year or so, I would say that we're not actually at the breaking point where people actually just want BDO Classic. We're not there. Some people want it, but other people, not so much. You need to understand the World of Warcraft community. Blizzard is a totally different company, and they are way worse than Pearl Abyss. Way worse at basically everything. They're just a miserable company to have to work with from a community perspective. It's miserable. Anyone that's works, no, they are not. They absolutely are. In every single sense of the word. In terms of interacting with their community, listening to feedback, making, like, changing modes. The only thing Blizzard is actually good at is making base games. That's it. They're good at making base games, and they're good at making trailers for those games. That's what, like, World of Warcraft at its base is a solid game, right? But, yeah, the cinematics, exactly. They changed it so much over time that their own player base hated them for it. And there were so many people that wanted BDO or World of Warcraft Classic that they literally said, all of these changes, this quality of life changes, all of this shit I've spent money on my other account, all of that. I don't care about any of that. Just give me the game that I fell in love with again. Just give me all the set shit. We are not there yet. That's how you know Pearl Abyss has not it up as much as Blizzard. Blizzard had to release World of Warcraft Classic, which sometimes overtakes retail as the most popular MMO on the market. And it has a massive following. Massive following. Right? Plenty of people love retail. They do. Of course. There's always going to be, like, you know, a decent percentage of people, like 60 or 70% of people that still like the game and agree with, like, the although they don't necessarily agree with all the changes to the game, they're not ready to throw everything away and go back to classic. But there was a large enough chunk of people in World of Warcraft that wanted to just go back to the way things were, that they were willing to throw everything away and go. That's how far gone you have to be. RuneScape was exactly the same thing. That's correct. Old school RuneScape is exactly the same thing happened. They f***ed RuneScape up so much that people were like, F this, we just want our old game back. Right? We're not there yet with BDO. Mainly because, again, Pearl Abyss is better at managing the game than Blizzard is. And that comes from somebody that played StarCraft 2 very competitively for an extremely long time. Like I don't want to get into it. I'm still Master League and Legacy of the Void. I watch StarCraft videos every single day on YouTube. I hate Blizzard for what they did to their game. I hate it. They abandoned their entire community. And not just that, but Overwatch too. Remember the Overwatch pro scene? I do. You know why there's a pro League of Legends scene? It's because Riot paid for it. Riot paid for it through their teeth, and they made it work. They said, we're going to make it work. They ran the community events. They listened to community feedback. That's why Riot is very successful. Overwatch League was Blizzard trying to be Riot, and they failed miserably. They just stopped because they're like, oh, it's too much overhead. Gave up. Hearthstone 2. Perfect example. Hearthstone's exactly the same way. Blizzard has always behaved in the exact same way towards their community. They don't give a f*** about us. Pearl Abyss, as much shit as I give them, is not that bad. It's not that bad. If you punch hard enough, they're gonna hear you. Right? And they're not as money hungry as Blizzard is in a lot of cases. You could say Pearl Abyss is very money hungry, but Blizzard is far worse. Blizzard is far worse.
Man, now. Heart
of the Swarm was good. HOTS, as in, I think Heart of the Swarm because I played StarCraft. You're talking about Heroes of the Storm. It was an okay game mode. It wasn't as good as League or anything. I don't think that game was ever going to be particularly successful, in my opinion.
Sometimes, like I said, you can get it for free. Sometimes it's $1. It is the cheapest access you will ever have right now. Pearl Abyss's track record on monetization means that this thing, if they do, will be insanely expensive. For context, a crystal slot that takes your crystal expansion from 3 to 6 one time a year for your crystal recovery is $72 more.
I never bought this. I strongly encourage people not to buy this. Now, I want to be clear. Some of Pearl Abyss's business habits have not been good. For example, seasonal is fresh on everyone's mind. What they did with seasonal, that was bad, right? What they did with the fishing backpack, that was bad. They are greedy sometimes. Absolutely. But they do also give away a lot of free stuff now too. Whereas before, when I started the game, oh, dude, you want inventory? You're buying it. You want a pet? You're buying it. Don't give a f***. Deal with it. Silver has weight. There are 3 different types of trash loot. You're going to buy storage in all your cities. You're going to buy the worker expansion coupons. You're going to buy all this shit. Now, they allow you to get a lot of that stuff for free. So they've eased up on the gas pedal in some respects, and they've gotten worse in other respects, in my opinion. So, and some of that was cacao too. You got to put that on cacao a little bit. But I don't know. As far as monetization goes, I play Throne of Liberty and BDO. They're both pay to win garbage in that regard. I think that both of them are reasonably monetized as far as things go for pay to win games. But let's be honest, we're living in a dumpster fire of monetization.
More than the price of a AAA game on release.
True. PA just prices everything atrociously.
More than the price
$30
of Monster
for
Hunter
outfits.
Wilds for 3 uses per year.
Well, when you put it that way,
Pearl Abyss has capitalized on the 3 main monetization structures that exist in modern games. The buy to play. Yes, the argument is that it's cheap.
Microtransactions.
I understand. It is pay to win. You really can't say it isn't at this point. I think that you're just
Of course it's pay to win.
sipping on the copium. If you're gonna say this game isn't pay to win, you're like paid by PA directly to say that it's not pay to win. Like I cannot believe that you would be of that opinion. That's absolutely radical.
Nobody thinks that anymore.
You know, to each their own. Everyone has different value for money, so in that context, I suppose you could argue that it's not pay to win. It also has a cosmetic system and a convenience system, which is typically the third monetization structure. Usually it's
Pay for convenience is also pay to win. It's not its own category. It's just as egregious as pay to win.
cosmetic.
Like it's not a question.
They go really hard on their convenience.
Like, dude, the Venesil dress, the cooking outfit, the alchemy outfit, it's all pay to win. It's not the swimming outfit, all that stuff. It's all pay to win.
Again, the crystal expansion slot
The hedgehog
is a perfect example of that. Also, weight, which is character bound,
Weight,
inventory slots, which are
inventory,
character bound. The list goes on and on. You could spend thousands of dollars on this game and get a bunch of conveniences.
funny that you should say that. This is the same guy, by the way, chat, as a friendly reminder. He took his BDO account and he deleted every single thing on the account. He deleted every Pearl item, every item in storages, every item on every character, and then deleted every character on the account. Everything that could be deleted was deleted and removed. And then he rebought everything. All of the weight and inventory on those characters, everything that he invested into each and every one of them, removed. And then he rebought that stuff so he could start over again without buying maids. I'm not joking. That's what he said. I don't know. He said he threw away over $4,000 US worth of stuff. I don't know. Like, he's got videos on it. You can look at him. I can't even watch him because I can't. It's just like, it's a level that I can't even believe it. Like, you look up the videos. It's literally insane. He's bitching about the monetization. I'm just saying, homie, you bought all of that stuff and then deleted it and bought it again on the same account. You could have just bought a new account and bought the other stuff, and you'd been up huge.
It's really
If you wanted to start over, just buy another account. You know what I mean?
egregious. With that being said, that of course means that the Ironman game mode, if they were to create one, would also be egregious. Whether that's a buy-in cost that makes up what they perceive their opportunity cost loss would be, because modern day Ironman spends $0.
Fuck no, they would just activate the Pearl Shop. Not even a question. They would just activate the Pearl Shop.
On the game. All of us have elected to not use the Pearl
destroy
Shop.
it.
That's not a restriction of the Ironman. That's just something that we've all added on because it made sense.
Yep.
What that means for PA is that everyone that plays an Ironman now doesn't make them any money. And they don't like that. So if they were to make it official, they would get their money. That presumably would come in some sort of buy-in cost. $350 maybe. I don't know. It could be anything.
Nah, it would never be that high. Again, I think that it would be a buy-in cost, probably $10-$20. You can play BDO Classic, and then they just give you a bunch of a starter pack of stuff. You unlock it all, and then you go. And you just play the game like you would have back then. Right? You get max weight, you get max inventory, whatever.
It could also come with a subscription. BDO currently has 3 monthly subscriptions. Yes, you don't technically need them, but
and soon I will be subscribed to none of them. I've dropped Book of Old Moon and Comma Blessing. The value pack runs out in 34 days. And I do not intend on replacing it. I think I have value packs just laying around. I don't know. I kind of want to try life without a value pack. Yeah, so I've got a lot of extra value pack if I want to, but I'm just not going to pop it. I don't care.
if you're playing, you probably are running them. I'm not confident that PA would make this an accessible game mode based on cost and based on attempts to recoup.
I actually don't think the cost is the problem. He's worried about like the monetization of it. I think that the execution of the game mode itself, they would just make it unfun. They would find a way to make it unfun. Like you can only access it for a few hours a day or some dumb shit. Like there'd be some weird quirky twist. They had to put their own spin on it. They couldn't just give the players exactly what they asked for. They had to give us 10% of what we asked for. You know what I mean?
Recuperate the cost that they see as
like we couldn't even see hardcore servers. We didn't even see this coming. We were like, it might work, And so we gave them a little feedback. We said add PvE so that there's a competition for resources. They add PvE. There's competition for resources. We say add good rewards. They added good rewards. And then they had another thought. What if a 9-foot tall flaming lizard ruled the world? Then they had another thought. What if we could only use 4 classes? Idiots.
loss. Just how companies work.
Cthulhu? No, I was quoting Parks and Recreation. First, Tom wrote a book, How to Build a Desk, and it did really well. It sold like 1 million copies. He had a thought. I can make a book about how to build a desk, and it sold 1 million copies. Then Tom had another thought. What if a 90-foot tall lizard from outer space actually controls the universe and is coming to destroy the world? So he published a second book. It's a crazy scene, bro. Parks and Rec is a good show.
If you're not giving them money, they're trying to convince you to. The Ironman game mode is very anti-give them money, so they'd find a way. They'd find a way to monetize it.
I don't mind them finding a way to monetize the Ironman game mode. I think that is totally fine. I don't mind, bro. They got to get theirs. That I get. If they made a great Ironman game mode, I have no problem paying for it. I've spent over probably in the 8 years I've played BDO, I've spent a little over $7,000 on the game probably. And I don't regret any of it. Almost all of it was spent on permanent account upgrades, storage, weight, inventory, worker expansions, stable expansions, you name it, right? Crystal, fairy, tent, all that stuff, right? I never really did the pay to win like outfit stuff, so I don't really regret any of it. And you know what? I spend money on my hobby. I spend a lot of time playing Black Desert Online. I don't really have that much of a problem spending a decent amount of money on it. Like, it's still less money than I would spend on alcohol. It's less money than I would spend on drugs or on any other thing that I don't mind spending money on the game. Not a crazy amount. You got to keep it in line. But like, I don't mind spending money on the game. And like, I think if they wanted to charge me $50 or even $10 for a hardcore game mode, I'd be okay with it. Sure. Okay with that.
And lastly, the main reason I don't think that this will ever happen is because the Ironman just isn't that popular.
It's not.
It's really not for everybody.
I think that people love watching Ironmans because they're like, God, that guy's crazy. You know what I mean? But like, they don't want to do it themselves. That's insane.
Especially in a game like BDO, which already takes a long time to get anywhere.
Yep.
And Ironman is just a super niche game mode. It's already like a very small percentage of a game that...
It's crazy we're comparing it to alcohol and drugs. Okay, Roku, I could see how you could come to that conclusion. But the reason that I'm comparing BDO to alcohol and drugs is not because it's Black Desert. It's because it's gaming. A lot of people consider gaming a taboo pastime. It's a taboo hobby. It's a taboo, like, oh, he's a gamer. And the women should look down on this, right? Or the people, society should look down on this, right? When the reality of the situation is everybody has their vices. I would say as far as vices go, again, you've got like gaming, alcohol, drugs, gambling, even stuff like the good ones, like the outdoors, and like, anything. And oh, here's the big one. Women. All of these horrible things, okay, except for the outdoors. The outdoors is, believe it or not, I'm an outdoorsman. I go backpacking every few weekends. That hobby costs me way more than video games normally does. Like even like last time, my like a couple things broke, I had to buy new things, etc. So the outdoors can cost you stuff too. But of these things, outdoors, maybe you could say outdoors cost less money than gaming. You could make that case. I could see it, and you could definitely make it so that that is the case. But of all the really bad things on the list, alcohol, drugs, gambling, women, all of this other stuff, this all costs a shitload more money. Way more money. Way more money. Okay? Than gaming does at the end of the day. And here's the thing. You should not be ashamed of spending money on gaming or the right woman. Okay? Like you shouldn't. Or even the outdoors necessarily. Right? But of the things that you could be spending money on, gaming's relatively like mild, right? And like you really, if you're spending a massive amount of time on it, like a lot of us do, let's be honest, we have tens of thousands of hours. What's wrong with spending $50 to $100 a month on a game that you're spending that much time on? It makes your time a little bit easier. What would you rather have, 30K Pearl box or a $300 hooker? The 30K Pearl box, but not for the reason that you think. This one could have consequences that last the rest of my life. This one hopefully will have consequences that last the rest of my life. Okay. This could be really bad. That could get bad. This, at worst, is just minus $300. At its worst. You know, you lost all the crown stones. You tried to pay to win. It didn't go well. You're in a really bad mood. This could just ruin the rest of your entire life.
There simply isn't enough interest for them to monetize it in such a way that it would make them money. So I'm confident.
Oh, I think that they could make money on it, but I agree. I don't think that the interest is there yet. They haven't completely up their game enough that people want to do Ironmans.
That they would never try.
Right. The content creators, maybe. We're the first ones to hit that because we have to do the game as a job, right?
Unless the game explodes in popularity and everyone just starts doing an Ironman on their own.
Black Desert as a game could explode in popularity. It could. We saw this with Land of the Morning Light. It will happen, right? The game just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just explodes, right? It's just a perfect storm of shit from Lost Ark and all of that stuff. We could see that again. I hope that we do. I hope that we do. But like, you know, we'll see. Wasn't China like massive for BDO? Yeah, but it's already starting to level off.
And then they're like, ooh, we could do that. We can make an Ironman game mode to, I don't know, make more money from the game, because that's the only way they would do it. I just don't see this happening. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. I'd love to hear if you have different opinions.
I agree with him. But not as hard, like, for different reasons. I don't think that they should make the game mode because they will f it up. I agree with that. But the monetization is not my concern. It's the game mode itself. I think that they will compromise the integrity of the game mode and why we find it fun. I don't think that they probably fully understand or grasp why a player wants to play. For the players that do like Iron Man, we like it for a very specific set of reasons, right? For me, I'm running a BDO Classic Ironman. The reason that I like the BDO Classic is because I get to show people, here's the video, I get to show people my knowledge of the game from 2017. I get to be like, hey guys, this is what we used to have to do here. Or hey, here's this crazy story that I have from my guild doing this or whatever. We have those moments all the time. And I get to share those experiences and that knowledge of the game with you guys. And I think that you guys enjoy watching me struggle really, really hard on an account where it's just kind of brutal settings. You know what I mean? So like, it is really good content in that regard. And it kind of brings me back to what BDO used to be. And it reminds everybody why what we have now is better. It is. But, you know, what we had back then was good too. And for different reasons. Right. But like, I think that they would just completely up why we actually like to play Ironmans. I don't think that they would grasp it. And I think that they would miss the mark. And I think that the game mode itself would be faulty. Kind of like hardcore servers, they limit it to only 4 classes. That would be really frustrating, right? Something like that, but for the Iron Man would be annoying. It would not be fun. It would not be fun. Anyway, those are my thoughts. That video just came out like 3 hours ago. So guys, I strongly encourage you to go comment on the video, give it an upvote, help him out. Sick Loot, we love Sick Loot.